forward to have our next speaker. It's my pleasure to once again welcome Mr. Chitranjan Rege, Head PMT Base Metals and Steel Multi Commodity Exchange of India (NCX), who is also our knowledge partner. So, Mr. Rege is a highly regarded voice in commodity markets. He will be sharing his insights on a very relevant theme, branding of lead. Having been part of our earlier sessions as well, it's always a privilege to hear this perspective that blends market expertise with strategic hedging tips. The floor is yours, Mr. Hegre. Mr. Rege, sorry.
Thank you, Binaji. Wonderful. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. I mean, it's always a privilege to be part of this. While we shared what we have done and what we would like to do in the same segment, but this one is quite a favorite for ours. Something different we have done, and I am sure this is going to be engaging for the local and the domestic Indian industries to engage more with us in the, I would say, an effort we are making to bring more harmonized quality and the price discovery mechanism consistent to what has already been established globally. I would not like to, spend much time on why we believe in the concept of make in India, price in India, and trade in India. This is already an established norm. I need not emphasize more on, Pogzanti Saab has already given us a lot of perspective on how this industry has been growing leaps and bounds. I have no doubt that the way in which the industry is planning for expansions, the numbers are only going to get better. In the effort, as we are a price discovery platform, what we also want to do consistently is to engage with the industry in a fashion where they can be integrated to the price discovery mechanism in a normal way. The thumb rule when we converted the contracts to delivery settled in 2019 was to say that the LME registered brands get to deliver whenever seller wants to. But on the same lines, what we've done is that we are now trying to based on a very acceptable and a very exhaustive uh, branding and audit method, we are empaneling brands which can be which can be sold or delivered on the exchange, regardless of which location or this thing. But as long as you are holding that branded metal, you are eligible to sell that. So deliver those goods as a part of the seller's obligation. Now, what in terms of risk mitigation, what is the advantage? I mean, why are we doing all of this? So our point is if we keep the supply of metal limited to a certain type of metal, so there is, I mean, endless issue of what is primary, what is secondary, and recycled and whatnot. What we learn on ground is as long as you are able to produce goods with a predefined quality, which is serving the purpose of the industry, I think you are good to go. So we do not, go by that. So moment the proposal was formulated, we took it to SEBI. I think the first thing SEBI told us to go and get that particular grade, which was arrived at basis, arriving at, discussions with all the leading two-wheeler and four-wheeler battery manufacturers, also the inverter manufacturers. So all the lead consumer industry was consulted to arrive at a grade, and that grade SEBI told us to go and register with BIS. Now tell me, let me tell you, Binaji, that grade is still not BIS implement. I mean, BIS has not been implemented, but we are already there. Our grade is empaneled with that. We ensure that every other impurity which the industry bothers about is enlisted in that grade with the norm, and an aggregate number is also given. So I'm going to share that numbers soon. But the idea was that when any buyer comes on the platform, so on the sell side we have the branded and a quality approved metal which will get delivered. But on the buy side, they can come, without any doubts and this thing, because once they are confirmed, once they are confident that the quality of metal what they are going to get on MCX is going to be uniform, consistent, and a quality product, then it becomes very natural thing that they would rather go not only for hedging, but even if the delivery is marked, then it's not a botheration for them. So that brings more comfort to the buyers, and that is why we believe that instead of the buyer choosing that I am looking for a certain chemistry and hence I would not like to participate, we chose the other way around, where we standardize the grade first. Branded reached out to a lot of people. People have enrolled with us as brands, and those brands are regularly being delivered on the MCX platform, which means regardless of wherever you are, when you eventually get the metal, it is going to be a quality approved and branded metal in all possibilities. Secondly, we are a price discovery mechanism. So from out of 30 days in a month, the rest of the days is price discovery. So we no way position ourselves as an alternate source of goods. Your existing, so all the consumers of lead and the producers of lead need to understand this thing, that your existing method in which you continue to operate will remain so. We are no producers of alternate metal. If you deliver, this metal goes to the buyer, and if you don't deliver, there will be nothing available in the market. The point I'm trying to say is that we do not create metal to be a competition. If whatever the seller will deliver, the same will go out in the market. So that's the perspective. Secondly, our delivery period is limited to last 3 days, which means
Leading
the
to
your
our
your
leading
conventional
website.
method in which you have been selling and transacting with your suppliers will remain unhindered. But the time and again, the fight which happens on what should be the right price, where the market is, whether we are going to dependent on LME, what should be the premium taken, whether rupee is taken correctly, whether the import duties have been calculated, whether the metal is coming from FTA, all of that gets factored into the MCX price. So that's another value proposition, of what we have. And finally, there are multiple delivery centers. People can deliver at anywhere. Supply of metal is always there. So people will never be left high and dry. At the most, what would happen is that you are actually getting marked for a delivery at a location which is not preferred. You are somewhere in down south. MCX has got metal in Chennai as well, and MCX got delivery and metal in say Thane, which is near Mumbai as well. And it's quite possible that you will get delivery marked in Thane, but that's not the I would not say that is not a it's not a disincentive. It's only a matter of price, and people can actually sell it back and buy from the open market or whatever. But idea is to ensure that there is a consistency of price, there is uniformity of price, there is homogeneity of the price for everybody in the market to buy and sell. And once the standardization is established, everything else can be a plus and minus of the standard product. So how do we do it, and how does that matter? So quality assurance. So I would not like to repeat any of this, but the process what we adopt for branding, I've got 2 slides on that, is sufficiently exhaustive. And we go to the every possible aspect of the trade and the production to ensure that the quality product is created. Quality product is created in an environment which is environment friendly. The producers are adhering to all the best practices, and so on and so forth. And it is not that once somebody is empaneled, then that is done and dusted for forever. So we have the follow up audits which happen on an annual basis, and it is going to happen on a recurring basis. So that gives another comfort to the buyers, that anything when if it is not coming from the empaneled vendor, but if it is coming from the MCX warehouses, they can be equally confident of the metal what they are getting, otherwise on a bilateral thing. Briefly about last, seventh and eighth point I want to mention, that the globally the practices are to have branding under multiple grades. So 99.97 happens to be the one to start with, then 99.985, 99.99, then further north 99.994 and stuff. At our end, our assessment was that the market on ground is really worried about the impurities. And on an aggregate number, if you actually arrest all the impurities on those numbers, then the residual purity comes to 99.98. And we felt that the recycling industry, people who are making that entire effort, need to get remunerated for the purity they deliver to the buyers. And hence this grade got devised and has got 17 additional impurities. I've got a slide on that. which are mentioned. Empanelment, how does this happen? It starts with paperwork, and thereafter we go through couple of rounds of one is the audit round, then the production round. You go for testing, and once all of that is set, the proposal is taken to the brand approval committee, and that's how it works. So there are 7 empaneled producers already with us. Pilot, Gravita Chitu, Gravita Fagi, Erdi, POCL, Enterprises, Gravita Mundra plant, and Jain Resources. These people are already empaneled with us, and the last count, the grade 3717 2024, is been named SPB 99.98 for a easy reference. So as and when BIAS gets implemented, I'm sure they all those who are empaneled with us will have a probably cakewalk on that front, and there is the continuity of entire bit. Now, briefly about what this empanelment process is all about. What we have done is that we have arrived at a exhaustive, probably 18, 19 pager, which gives a elaborate explanation of how the process will be conducted. So, when we are talking of a market size of close to about 12 lakh tons, 1.2 million tons, there is enough production capacity across India, which is capable to create a quality product. And as long as they adhere to or they meet our quality standards and the processes on a regular basis, they can get branded with us, and they will have opportunity to participate in this right price discovery. It brings level playing field, it brings quality benchmarking, and it institutionalizes the entire effort. I mean, it's not a thing where it's left high and dry at one end. But I think once the majority is in place, then obviously the acceptability of the pricing from both buyers and sellers, and as very nicely presented by Sandeep, the consumers, whether it is two-wheeler, four-wheeler, or anything, it is so uniformly spread out. You can't really say the demand is coming from a particular sector. So when the not only the first sale, but thereafter the secondary purchase, and thereafter whenever the follow purchase happens for the batteries for any of these products, is going to be scattered all over India. It really reflects in which this new the expansion of capacities have happened for the inverter guys or the battery guys. And same way, the lead recycling industry also has mushroomed into those areas where the supply is required to be given. So I'm saying this is very well already established market. We believe that we have a great value proposition for all of them to adopt to. So the stage one happens is where we go through the application and documentation process, which means I think it will be nothing less than about 30-35 pages, but it essentially establishes a very clear trail of the ownership, the plant location, all the certifications, the BI, the ISOs, and the spectros, and whether validations have happened and all of that, including the pollution certificates and everything. Once that is there, then when we nominate an auditor, and so we had SK Mitra as one of the auditors, we had Alex Stewart as one of the auditors, and very recently we have empaneled SGS as well. So these are the auditors, and one of them randomly gets nominated for that particular location where a plant audit happens. So they will not only go and scrutinize the paperwork which has been submitted to us on a verification basis, but I think far important thing, in that particular role, they also do is they actually witness the production of the metal, right from, so scrap being uh, dismantled, and from there it's going into furnaces, and then it first smelting, and then refining, and all of that process, including, till the end when the ingots are made, bundled, and all of that. That particular lot which is produced in front of them, the button samples are collected, and while this particular lot of whatever quantity, I mean, it's pre-described, we can come to that later, but it remains parked in a quarantined way in the plant for some time, and till the button samples are verified by the auditor. And once he's okay with that, then we give a green signal for that particular lot to be sent to a consumer. And there are two, 3 people who are already party to this, excellent process. HBL down south, and the Okaya and Luminous up north. And so on the random basis, these are allocated, and the testers consume that particular metal in their application and certify the utility and their observations. And once that is done, there is a repeat cycle happens where the auditors won't go, but it is left for the producer to produce to the button sampling, send it to us. We validate, and if it is right, then it goes to the second party for listing. So once this cycle is over, then we take the proposal to the brand approval committee. So I would say that it's while it looks very plain vanilla as I explained, but we feel that it's important for everybody to realize that while MCX would charge some amount, 5 lakh. This is the current price we have, which is
I think
reduced
अभी continue
for
होगा.
all the
2 minutes. I
applications.
just excuse myself. इधर आके बैठ जाओ.
So for till 31st of December, but the cycle, my sense is, I think we should be able to cover between 3 to 4 months if everything goes sequentially right. We need to have a minimum 1 month gap between the two production processes to ensure that the consistency is this thing. Otherwise, we are at will and wish to convene the meeting of the brand approval committee, take the proposals further. Uh, Incrementally in terms of expenses, I would not say expense, but this is also the we take bank guarantee from the brand producer, which is given to us just to ensure that in case if there is any, it's a fallback arrangement for us to ensure that if the quality issues are to surface anytime during the tenure, then I'm sure, I mean, the replacement of the metal is one of the foremost thing which is there on the table. But in case if we have to subscribe to this, then we have enough cash or access to the funds where it can be used. It has never been a requirement, but it is never been a requirement in a sense. It has never been required for us to exercise our right, but it is the norm with which we work and we take the thing. Now, I briefly mentioned about annual audit. So once incorporation happens and the agreements have happened, the bank guarantee is in place and all of that, it is the entity that wish to deliver, transact and deliver at any of the locations across India, their product becomes like a currency. So even if they they are not delivering themselves, but it's quite okay if their own brand duly certified along with the chemistry and the certificates is delivered into MCX warehouse. It becomes like a currency. But on an annual basis, we go through the audits, follow the same procedure of the audit and the button samples and all that. In the follow-up audit, the metal doesn't go to the testers, but to the extent of button samples to be taken and verified in the verified for chemistry is a annual affair, and we in a very consistent manner we have been doing it all the time. Finally, just to give you a sense as to how exhaustive the chemistry we capture, yeah, it is essentially to say that all the big inverter producers and all the big the two-wheeler and four-wheeler manufacturer, battery manufacturers will feel confidence in the kind of chemistry what they are looking for, and we have not kept any single element outside the scope, which is why 17 elements are being displayed here. On an aggregate basis, 200 ppm is the one we cannot exceed, which is how the resultant content in percentage comes to 0.02, and that is why we believe that the balancing number, which is the purity of lead, is 99.98. We take pride in how this is being practiced. Now that it is already under BIS and already part of the grade 3717, we believe that if and when and as and when the way in which the government has incrementally be bringing BIS on variety of metals, we are already there to make sure that industry doesn't have challenges whatsoever. When it comes to the contract specs, we have two contracts, 5 metric ton and 1 metric ton, everything else remaining same. Quotation value is 1 rupee per kg, whereas the primary center is Chennai, additional centers at Thane, Palwal, so, east, west, north, south, I mean, as simple as that. And we continue to remain focused on these four places. We have done a lot of rationalization of warehouses and additional centers in every other metal. We practically have removed all delivery centers from copper and nickel, so Thane is the only delivery center. We have removed north and south from zinc and aluminum, so it is only east and west, and or aluminum has got Raipur as well. But this is the product, or this is the commodity or the contract where the multiple centers across India are very much. So these are the important links. I do not want to dwell too much into it, but we are always available for discussion. Happy to be answering or this thing. And we being conducting this thing under the IPF, a quick requirement that SEBI wants everybody to be aware that please trade via the recognized exchanges. You should have valid contracts and everything timely submit, uh, and the unique client codes, and go through your emails so that all the backup contract notes and everything are timely being provided to you. There is a very exhaustive website which the SEBI has devised, investor.sebi.gov.in, which is so essential for people to refer to. And there is a host of other things which SEBI also does, so that retail investors is not left high and dry in case if they have any issues at all. We've been doing awareness session endlessly, and I believe at any point in time, if there is any requirement from any entity to have a bilateral AC or one-on-one meeting, we'll be very happy to help everybody understand MCX better. This is the MCX Investor Services Center across our branches. So we are present everywhere. We are probably a call away, and we are very much around where you are positioned. So happy to help on any of these counts forever.